Eugene, Springfield, Lane County, Oregon. Support our work. Make a donation at STRPOD.com. Thank you for listening to Spent the Rent podcast. And now, here's your host, Patty Rose.
Hello, I am Patty Rose. Welcome to the Spent the Rent podcast. This is episode number 256. We are joined by two people, Mayor Dan Sheets and Planning Commissioner Nichole Allin. Welcome both of you to the show.
Thank you.
So we decided we were going to run this a little bit short because we have a performer that's coming up next. So we're going to do this kind of as a group episode. So we're going to do this short and sweet. Thank you so much, Dan, for getting a hold of me and inviting me to do this event.
Oh, absolutely.
It's been a huge honor, and it's really nice to meet you, Nichole. Thank you so much for doing this on short notice.
Of course.
So let's get started. Dan, you've been a resident in Monroe for nearly 2 decades and transitioned from the Planning Commission into the mayor's seat. What is your personal Monroe story, and what originally inspired you to take the responsibility of leading the city?
That's a great question. So I actually, as you mentioned, I started on the Planning Commission. From there, really just watching the city council and what they're trying to do with the city. There was a point in time in about 2020 when the direction of the city was not going in a positive direction. It was not great. So it was actually at that point in time, it was an election year, went ahead and just threw my hat in, because I knew that if anybody can run a city if they've got the right staff and they've got common sense in their head and they want to help the people of our community. And I didn't feel like at the time that was the city council had the city residents in their best interests.
Well, knowing you for the 2 weeks that I've known you, you're extremely gracious, and I can tell that you're pretty connected to the city. This has been a really successful event.
Yes,
I think every 729 people, every single person in Monroe has shown up. So that's pretty exciting.
Yes, it is.
I was telling Gabe I did an unofficial count, and I had 326 people as the head count. I just made that number up completely. So Nichole, you are currently serving as the Planning Commissioner, where the physical future of the town gets shaped. What brought you to Monroe, and what pushed you to step up and serve your community in this role?
Well, coming to Monroe, we moved here 11 years ago, and we were really looking for a sense of community. We came from a big city where we didn't know our neighbors. We lived on a cul-de-sac and didn't know our neighbors, and we really wanted to have that. And we kind of stumbled upon Monroe and fell in love. And from there, we just, started to throw ourselves into the community and doing things. As a local realtor, I have had the privilege of helping families buy and sell homes in our area as well as in the Willamette Valley. And I thought that my knowledge and expertise would lend well with the Planning Commission. And I reached out and said, what can I do? How do I get involved here? And I was pleasantly surprised and honored to be nominated and appointed to the position. And it's just one extra step that I get to do to help give back to our community.
Yeah, that's really cool. I was the producer of a podcast in Eugene, the Eugene Real Estate Podcast, and hosted by Vince Casey. Shout out to Vince Casey. And I learned a tremendous amount about the community just by listening to a different perspective. I'm a renter, obviously Spent the Rent is the title, but there's so much to be learned for being in that world. So that's really neat. Dan, running a small city means wearing a lot of hats and being deeply accessible to your neighbors. What does a typical work week look like for you as the mayor? And when it comes to keeping your finger on the pulse, what is everyday local need?
Oh, another great question. So my week is my position is not paid. I'm essentially an elected volunteer. So I have my regular day job. So I work that. That's usually 6 in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. From there, then I go ahead and pick up any of my mayoral duties, which usually include getting connected with City Hall, city administrator, see what's going on for the day, what I can do to help, if there's any way that I can communicate either to an individual resident or to the entire community. It could be person to person. It could be over a cup of coffee. It could be just social media or even an email. And essentially also just strategizing what are the city's, what we're doing and how we're moving forward for not just today, but for the future. So it's a lot of short range and long range planning and strategizing, but communication, connecting with the community is so important.
Yeah. One of the things that Gabe mentioned is the difficulty when you have a small town with this small population is that the revenue in taxes is very small.
It is. That's correct.
So to work in those really tight budgets, you got to really plead with, the higher levels with county and state.
Yes.
So I'm sure you're on the phone with the next level up asking for
absolutely
asking for as much as you can get.
Yes, I've talked to Gabe a few times.
I bet. So Nichole, Monroe has a beautiful classic small town identity that people absolutely fall in love with. From a planning perspective, how do you approach mapping out the space for a new local home and business without losing the core tight-knit charm?
That is a great question, and it really comes to the heart of it for a small community that has everything that Monroe has to still stay progressive but keep the charm in the small town that we so love. You have to be very thoughtful and purposeful in what you are selecting and voting on. You open yourself up to all of it, and then you really have to take the time to say, does this really help our community? We want to see it grow, but responsibly. We want to keep the charm and keep what makes Monroe, with being able to still grow and develop to entice more people to come and enjoy our city.
Yeah, that's awesome. Dan, a large focus of your leadership has centered on essential infrastructure updates, like improving the city's drinking water system. How do updates to these fundamental utilities directly change daily life and health for local households?
Well, yes, definitely drinking water has been a focus, also wastewater as well. Drinking water, you have to have clean drinking water. Your drinking water has to be healthy for your community. I mean, that's you must have that. So it's been my pleasure to work with Representative Gomberg. He actually helped us and our city with getting a $1.5 million grant to help us with our water system upgrades. And those will go directly to helping the community and get our drinking water situation improved immensely.
That's really cool. Gabe mentioned that too, so that must be a huge issue.
It is a huge issue. Yeah, Gabe and all the Benton County commissioners are fully aware of it. I have a great communication with all of the county commissioners as well as Representative Gomberg.
That's awesome. So Nichole, looking past the technical terminology of zoning and land use, we don't have all day. What is the Planning Commission focusing on right now, and what will directly improve the day-to-day quality of life for families that live here?
So we have a lot of different projects in the works, of course. And so one of those, is really starting to look at how we can increase our urban development area responsibly so that we have the ability to continue to grow. So that's one of our big focuses is looking at that and starting to navigate those waters. So we may be able to expand ourselves a little bit more for our footprint, allowing more opportunity for building and developing some additional homes for people.
Yeah, that's awesome. Dan, for an everyday resident who has a fantastic idea of neighborhood improvement, but might feel intimidated by City Hall, what steps is the city taking to under your administration to make local government more open, welcoming, and easy to participate in?
So one wonderful example was back in February. We actually did a town hall. And we haven't done town halls for a time now because they don't get well attended. But this particular one, we focused on our infrastructure and the other needs the city is prioritizing. And I was completely in awe. We had a packed house and we were transparent and clear and to let the community know this is what we're doing. This is how we'd like to do it. And that was taken very well by the community. And I think really we're going to do more of them, because I think that is really the best way to get the information out, the communication out, to let them know that this is what our local government is doing.
That's one of the big things when I read, and I got this together. I really wanted to ask something like this, because I do this podcast because it's stories of the underrepresented. But one of the things that happens is on local government, people don't either know who's involved, know who's running, who's in the seats, and just don't even really know how the system works, myself included. I mean, when I started the show, I literally had to ask a labor commissioner, like, what is labor?
Right.
Because I'm a barber, so I'm an independent contractor.
Right.
So I just didn't really understand all of that. So this is why I do the Spent the Rent podcast. So if you're listening or you're watching out here at the Monroe Festival, you can go to my podcast, STRPOD.com. It's Spent the Rent podcast. I've been doing this since 2018. So you can find out a lot about the local community in Lane County mainly. But thank you again for inviting me to be here in Benton County at the Monroe Festival. This has been a great event. Like I said, every single 729 people in Monroe has shown up,
which is awesome.
I think that you get a lot of people from the surrounding areas, Junction City, Corvallis.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm an owner of a new barbershop. We get a lot of people from Corvallis, so I was like, this is a really good opportunity.
That's impressive. Yeah.
So Nichole, when you look at the physical layout of Monroe today, what specific areas and neighborhoods do you have the most potential for? Do you see the most potential for becoming new family-friendly hubs or active community spaces?
So as many people know, we've been talking about the Long Tom River for a while, and we have our river frontage. And as we move forward and look to continue to improve and develop that area, that's a great resource for us to be able to add, some more interest, some more, community-friendly areas, accessibility to our park, and so we're kind of looking at that. But again, as I stated in my last question, we're looking to maybe expand our little footprint, because we do have a smaller footprint, and what that looks like responsibly as we continue to evolve Monroe into what it will be.
You said that you work as a realtor. So what is the average home typically? I know this is a huge range, right? I mean, what is the typical home? Is it cheaper than, say, Lane County, or is it kind of on the same range?
Monroe is an interesting animal. We're in South Benton County. So, we have our little footprint of the city of Monroe, but the zip code, 97456 is actually a very broad zip code. We have a lot of rural properties. Christmas trees is a big industry out here. We have wine country. We have, farmers. And so when you look at the average home price in Monroe, you're actually looking at more like $850,000. Wow. But when you come right into the little town of Monroe, it is, less than that. But when you compare a property here in Monroe to something in Eugene or Corvallis, it's huge. So you could take a $500,000 house that is here in Monroe, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. You take that exact same home, like a cookie cutter exact same home, and you put it in Eugene or Corvallis, and you're looking at $150,000 to $200,000 more.
Wow, so
would you be willing to drive an extra 15 or 20 minutes into your commute to save $150,000 to $200,000?
Right. I mean, I drove from Eugene this morning, and it was 25 minutes. I mean, it was a very quick drive, and it's beautiful too. And you can drive 25 minutes across town in Eugene. So
right.
It's nothing compared to Salem. I grew up in Salem, and you can take the rest of your life getting across town. So Dan, when you look at the younger generation growing up in Monroe today, what kind of city are you working to build for them so that they can feel proud of the hometown and want to stick here to raise their own families? So
we've talked a lot about parks and having activities for different age ranges here in Monroe. We don't have a lot available we have a toddler park, but we don't really have anything for like the teenagers here. So looking at maybe like a skate park or some other, activities that a YMCA would be probably hard to get here, but something where we can get the kids more involved, doing more activities. Another thing also is working with the local school district and, work study programs or seeing if there were ways for them to work with our public works team to learn, different vocational skills or jobs.
What about sports? Is there you guys do kids sports and you do pop?
Yeah, we have sports is huge here.
And the rural areas, football is very serious.
Yes, it is.
and it's easier to kind of make a team. I mean, I had my ex-girlfriend's kids. They were from McKinsey, so they played 5A football. It was 1A football, 5-man football.
Right. Oh, wow.
It wasn't football, but
right.
But it was still really fun, and
yeah,
they got a lot out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, last question. I'm going to give this to you, Nichole. To close out today, thank you everybody at the Monroe Festival. Thank you both for being here. This has been a real
You're welcome.
for me. What do events like the Monroe Festival mean to you personally, and why do you think that this is so great for the community?
For me personally, like when these events started, it was like, oh my gosh, this is so neat. And Monroe just comes out. Like you said, everybody's here, right?
Yeah.
Monroe comes out. Like when we did Halloween in our trunk and treat, like this place was hopping. I was like, where did all these kids come from? I didn't know we had that many kids in this town. It was amazing. Such a great event.
Yes.
So events like this, Mother Nature was a little tricky, but people still came out. They enjoyed. They're still here. It's huge for our community. We had people coming from other places. I met people coming in from Eugene. I met people from Junction City, Harrisburg. They're like, I didn't know this was going on. And I'm like, have you hopped on the trolley? Go check out our town.
I might have to do that. Are they done for the day?
No. When I'm done here, I'm doing the last hour of the trolley.
You better go jump on that.
Pretty cool. Yeah. So this has been incredible for a town this size. I mean, it's the turnout's been really good. I've been really busy working, playing music and stuff.
Right.
But the amount of we've had 33 vendors, something like that. We've had a couple of musicians.
Yeah.
Tons of food trucks. Just awesome. Lots of all ages. It's been a really good event. I'm seeing nothing but smiles on these people's faces.
Great. We appreciate you being here too.
Yeah, it's been a real treat for me. And I'm really honored. I don't remember how you had found out about me, but I was asking
our city administrator.
Oh, cool.
TJ.
Yeah, I've got a really good relationship with John Van Gordon in Springfield, and he's probably brought me the most. He's introduced me to police chiefs, fire chiefs. Now Mike McFarland's giving me a bunch. Shout out to Mike McFarland. He's one of the communications directors for the fire department, for the fire union, and he brings me a lot of good episodes. But yeah, anytime you guys want me back, I would love to be back next year for the 6th annual.
Okay.
This is a successful event. I'm sure it brings a lot to the city. So, Nichole Allin, Planning Commissioner, Dan Sheets, Mayor of Monroe, thank you both for being here. And thank everybody for coming out to the Monroe Festival 2026.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.